This video is brought to you by Straight Goods News, Canada's alternative online news source. Visit straightgoods.ca.
Once again, we have legal opinion now that the government is breaking its own law when it comes to providing information that the Parliamentary Budget Officer needs to do his job. And today in the House, Minister Clement raised a report from a number of years ago that dealt with administrative concerns between the library and the Parliamentary Budget Officer because the PBO reports to the library, small administrative concerns, completely different than the questions we're asking today, fundamental financial information the government's not providing.
But Minister Clement seemed to suggest that report, which was an all-party report, seemed to suggest that he was going beyond his mandate or outside of his mandate. So he seemed to suggest that justified Minister Baird's comment yesterday that he was getting beyond his mandate.
No, I disagree completely. We're talking about a report that dealt with small administrative matters that are completely irrelevant to today's discussion, which is about fundamental financial information that the PBO is asking for in order to be able to do his job so that we as parliamentarians can do our job. So no, I don't believe that justifies Minister Baird's comment, and it's obvious because he was not even able to stand up and defend himself.
Where do you think the government's going then with this PBO thing, with a statement like yesterday's statement and a statement like today's statement? What do you think?
Well, I don't know where they're going, but what we are proposing is that the PBO should be an independent officer like the Auditor General so that he has the independence and the resources to be able to do the job that Canadians want him to do and the job that the Conservatives promised to do when they came to Ottawa and promised accountability.
Should he go to court to get the information?
Well, that's up to him. I'm not gonna speculate on what he should do, but I know what the government should do. The government should provide the information, stop trying to hide behind doublespeak and little administrative differences from a number of years ago. I think that Canadians want accountability. The government is saying, trust us. I don't believe Canadians trust this government when it comes to transparency and accountability.
Other officers of Parliament have gone to court to protect their jurisdiction and their rights, and I'm thinking of the Information Commissioner. Do you think the reason that the Parliamentary Budget Officer might have a different opinion is that he's not a full-fledged officer of Parliament, he's dependent on the Library of Parliament?
Well, this is it. He does report to the Library of Parliament. He doesn't have full independence. That's why I brought in a private member's bill personally to create that independence of his position. So whether that's a factor in how he's handling this.
Exactly. What are the conditions or preconditions for us entering into this negotiation?
Well, as you heard today we asked several questions today to the Prime Minister to find out what were the preconditions for Canada to be at the table. We heard that Canada had to make preconditions in order to be at the table in these discussions, and so we want to know what were the preconditions. Is it the supply management system that will affect so many in the agricultural sector? Is it intellectual property, which could raise drug prices in Canada, where we see already provinces are strapped for cash to manage rising drug prices? So given that so many decisions have already made and been made in many rounds of bargaining, what did they give up and what are they possibly going to get here?
There are some suggestions in American reports that Canada won't have any veto right over the existing treaty discussions that have already been agreed upon. So we will come in late and we will have to accept anything that's been agreed upon to this point, and that it'll start at that point. Do you think we'll ever get the details exactly where things stand and what we sign on to or not?
Well, this is one of the details with these free trade agreements is they're done in secret behind closed doors. We don't know what has been given up in the negotiations, and here we weren't even at the table for so many rounds of talks, and we've been told that there's things we have to give up just to have a seat at the table, and it sounds like it will be a seat where we won't really have much of a say.
The Prime Minister has repeatedly said that the gestion of the supply management is not up for negotiation. He's even quoting, I think, the President of the Canadian Milk Producers Association, who says that one is not exclusive of the other, that we can be in, as well as not sacrificing it. So you don't believe his assurances?
If the Prime Minister is saying that supply management is not on the table and it's not going to be given up, then he should say so in the House of Commons. That's all we're asking.
Okay. In terms of this impressions of this session? How would you evaluate what's happened this session?
It's been an intense session in this round of Parliament. As you know, many long sittings into the night, a lot of votes, and I think an increasing push by this government to centralize power in the hands of ministers, take away transparency and oversight, and the omnibus budget bill was the biggest example of that. I think it's unfortunate that Canadians will not have the full light of day over all of the decisions the government is making. I think Canadians expect that, deserve that, and it's created a level of frustration that I've not seen before.
In the fall, there's going to be another omnibus implementation bill or budget implementation bill. Do you think that they will repeat the same experience of putting everything but the kitchen sink in that bill?
I really hope not. I mean, part of our goal with this budget bill was to really push back and say, you will not do this without pushback, without protest, without us trying to bring Canadians into the conversation. And I'm hoping they get that message, but if not, we're going to have an ongoing tug of war to open up the process, to open up the discussion for Canadians.